Hi, I'm Ron Vanderlinden, linebacker coach at Penn State University. This DVD contains the drills, fundamentals, and techniques I use to coach the linebackers here at Penn State University. You'll also see corresponding game tape of each drill used in the course of a game. All athletic skills begin with a stance. If the stance is flawed, the opportunity for success in that particular play decreases. A linebacker should have his feet no wider than his shoulders. He should have his head and eyes up. He should have his knees over his feet and his shoulders over his knees. If your stance is too wide, you can't help but take a balanced step in, which creates a crossover step, which keeps you from getting to the ball as quickly as you possibly could. It costs you a step and a half as you pursue the football. And it also straightens your body up. And if you were to take on a blocker when you were in a crossover position, you would lose your base and be very ineffective as you would take on a blocker or a ball carrier. This is the exact position you want to maintain throughout the 6 to 8 second course of the play. This is the position you want to meet the ball carrier in when you tackle the ball carrier. Anything less than that position is less than ideal. It will not put you in the most advantageous position to make a physical tackle, driving the ball carrier back, keeping the ball carrier from getting post-contact yardage. So often during the course of a season, there's so little time to work agility drills and reaction drills, and they are important. I think the most important skill for a linebacker is the shuffle and to change direction. I do a form of a shuffle drill each and every day, including pregame. Now in this drill here, I'm just working, changing reaction, opening the hips, getting depth in the pass game, breaking up on a draw or a quarterback scramble. And I think there's a start in every play in football, and there's a finish. And the most important part of the play is the finish, and that's when a linebacker or a defender would put the ball on the ground. Each player, as you can see, should regain his balance, should fit perfectly within his relationship to the football. If you're an apex player, you should hit it right down the edge. If you're a curl defender, you should fit foot to foot with the other curl defender, keeping the ball in your inside shoulder. And if you're in contained position, you should stay square. The player to my far left has his shoulders turned, which is less than ideal. He should stay square, and you should fit. In this position, you can react to whatever the ball carrier does and make solid contact. Oftentimes in working agility drills, I'm going to work them downhill, where they're pressing the football naturally, getting players to attack downhill. The shuffle should be a reach slide motion. You're going to see the shuffle and the importance in game footage now. Just about every play that you would watch Penn State play, you should see all three linebackers in that stance position start to finish and incorporate the shuffle. Watch 31. The stance should be perfect, and then note that if he's in that perfect position when contact is made on the ball carrier. And you can see the change in direction in the shuffle. Watch number 31 again, and also number 40. Utilizing the shuffle technique. .31 again, 40. As I watch game tape, I always try to duplicate in practice what I'm seeing our linebackers do and need to do to be successful on game footage. I think so often coaches will do drills to do drills, and they don't have great sense of purpose. If you can't see your drills on game tape, then I think you're doing the wrong drills. See 45 changing direction, having to hit, shuffle, stun, which we'll get to in a second. Number 40, shuffling. And again, really you should see all three linebackers incorporate the shuffle, change of direction, and then other techniques that we'll get to as we get through the tape. When defeating a blocker, there's a progression of fundamentals that take place. The first fundamental is I should attack with my hands. My elbows should be in and my thumbs should be up. I'm not going to stop the charge of an offensive lineman or a fullback with my hands, but I'm not going to stop that charge with a forearm shiver either. I'm going to stop it with a flat back and a low pad level and a good base, and I'm going to shock the blocker. But I cannot get off a block unless I have my hands in an inside position on the blocker. So I'm shooting for the armpits or the apex of the blocker, and I want to attack him with my thumbs up and elbows in. And I believe that drill is important to really getting a linebacker to lead with his hands. The next step is I'm going to fit the players up. I'm going to fit the offensive player leaning and higher than the defensive player. The defensive player, as you can see with 31, should have a perfect fit. And I'm going to say lock out, and he's going to lock him out. I'm going to say lock out and then shed. Now here is a great illustration of two finishes. 31 is finishing low and square in position to make a play. He should not thrust his body forward. He should shed, shuffle, and be in position to make a play as the ball carrier approaches the line of scrimmage. 46, as you can see, is not in position to make a play. He is not in position to change direction. So often in our drills, we don't teach finish. I think finish is critical because it is the most important part of the play, and that is putting yourself in position as a defender to put the ball on the ground. Lock out, reload, lock out, shed. And the lockout should be violent as I thrust the blocker backwards and gain separation. Again, if I don't have inside hand position, I can't get separation. If I don't have separation, I can't shed the blocker and get to the football. The next step in that progression we'll get to in a minute. A drill I use, I've evolved to using this pre-practice, is I really want to allow that linebacker to take a good lead step, and I want him to over-exaggerate his shuffle and buzz in the feet, quick feet, and I want to thrust the inside foot up on contact, the inside foot being the ball closest, the foot closest to the football. I want to thrust the hands forward so that becomes automatic as I approach a blocker, and I want to have a good low pad level and be in position with a wide base to take on a blocker. The reason I have the bag behind the linebacker is oftentimes a linebacker goes backwards prior to going forward. I believe it's important, not critical, that you teach good habits and get a good first step, because that good first step will allow a linebacker to close in on the blocker and the ball carrier quicker without wasting false steps, and then it will also ensure that the linebacker has a good base all the way through the play. This is a good warm-up pre-practice drill, and I find that by doing this each day, 2 to 3 times per player, naturally they start stepping with the right foot. Like anything else, you develop muscle memory. The cage is helpful because it reinforces staying low. Not everybody has the cage, nor is it always the most time efficient. You work 4 guys in a cage. If you don't have a cage, just work in the bag. Then after we punt or shed the blockers, we'll actually attack the blocker, fit it, and lock it out. Another reason I like this drill is it's not overly intense, but it can take a young player and over time develop that habit of keeping your eyes open on contact. So butting up a blocker, much like you see here, becomes an automatic for the linebacker and something he naturally does. A progression of stun drills will follow here. The first one I teach is we're working downhill, working towards the football. We're shuffle, shuffle, stun. We're finishing with a fumble recovery. You can see the ball is left. Thus, the linebackers, 40 in this example, will attack with their inside foot left. How do you recover a fumble? You bend your knees, you put your eyes and both hands on the ball. Now, one of the common errors in the stun drill is players are too aggressive. Players will lunge when they attack the blocker, and then their feet will come together as 47s did there. That is a good finish. Every tackler should finish in that perfect fit every time, as 47 is. This is a change of direction. I progress from the downhill to a change of direction stun drill, and I just tell them ahead of time where the ball is. Good finish by 16 on the tackle. Now they're going to shuffle, much like you would in the course of a play, a little overextended by 2. I want to shock and stun the blocker, take wind out of his sails. I like to have somebody like 89s servicing us so that we can actually work around him, and it increases my shuffle a little bit better. We're attacking with the hands inside, shock the blocker, don't overextend, and finish with a good tackle. You can see we do this drill at least twice a week, and I'll do a variation of this stun drill actually pregame. This is what linebackers do. They shuffle, they take on blockers, they shed blockers, and they work to the football and finish. And so as you can see here, we're going to do a fumble recovery. There's always going to be a finish to the drills that I do. Ball's on the ground, as you'll see in some game footage coming up. It's a natural reaction for us just to scoop and score. 40's a little fast there. He wants to shuffle. He does not want to run to the drill. We want to shuffle to the drill. Shuffle fast. The sled I have, we won't always hit each other. This sled's a good change-up. It's a hit and lift sled where I'm giving a reaction much like a guard would give a reaction, and they got a shuffle, shuffle, stun. And you can see here there isn't any false stepping. Nobody's stepping back. Nobody's stepping underneath themselves. They're taking the right step. And then just to work them kind of a downhill stun drill, they're working in a straight line. More often on this drill, I'll work 2 at a time, and I'll give them the direction so it really teaches them and helps reinforce the good lead step, which is a 6 to 8 inch step working towards the blocker. Some examples of a stun technique or shocking a blocker in game footage. .31 is going to fit aggressively inside and underneath a down block and hold his ground. 40's going to stun and shock a blocker and be in position to get off and make a play. .45 takes on the guard, stuns the guard, locks out, gains separation, shuffles back to the football. 45, taking on the fullback, hits, locks, sheds, disengages, gets to the football. Nice job by 31, taking on the fullback on an ISO draw where we don't get a quick read. The fullback settles and attacks. We press it, use our hands well, and just naturally hit, lock, and shed, just like the drills we've done.